Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to show you how to create this game over typography illustration in the app IBS Paint X. So this is going to be something like a Avenger themed super cool illustration. And if you are new to my channel, subscribe to my channel and watch this video. Also, don't skip the video anywhere because I'll be giving step-by-step instruction. So let's get started. First, I'm going to open a paste canvas as usual in my Base Paint X app, and first of all, I'm going to apply a background color. So this is going to be my background color. I'm keeping it everything dark so that the glossy, shiny illustration looks better with the dark background. And here, first of all, I'm going to create something like a metallic um, uh, details. So for that, I'm using a kaleidoscope ruler with 16 division, and here using the felt tip pen hard brush I'm going to draw the circle. So why I'm drawing the this part instead of making the text first is because I want this circle as a background and the text as the center of this. So if I first add the text details first and then move on with the circle details, we may lose, or there will be some disalignment uh, when it comes to the center of the text as well as the circle details. So first I'm going to make things at the center point. So drawing using the kaleidoscope ruler, make sure this is at the center of the entire page or the canvas, and then we will add the details at the center of this circle. So that's the reason why I started this instead of the text first. So here you can see using multiple layers, I am drawing the circle and all these details one by one. Why I didn't use a single layer for all these is because I am going to apply some filter for each and every detail, and the perspective or light setting of each detail will be different. So if I draw everything in a single layer and apply a filter, we will not get the desired result that we get using this method. So that's why I whenever if you are checking out any of other my mandala illustration, metallic mandala illustration, you can find that I'll be using multiple layers instead of the single layer. So that's the reason. Here you can see I used a separate layer for that background circle, and then another layer for the what is that, something like a rectangle, that shape, and another layer for drawing this triangle details, and another layer for drawing these dots. So I'm using a separate layer for just adding 4 to 5 dots. So that's the reason, because I'll be using filters, and I will be using different light angles for each and everything so that it looks really you know better with minute details. So here I'm also making everything inside these folders so that we don't get confused. So now once I finished the background details, I just created a new layer, and I'm going to use the text game. So here as well I'm just using the separate layer for the game as well as the over. So here you can see I just create a new layer, and just when I click on the text, it automatically create a new layer. So if I click on this text again in the same layer, we may end up in adding the text in the same layer. So we don't want that, because again I'm going to use the different filters for these two text. So just create another layer and then click on the text so that another layer, text layer, will be created automatically by the IBIS Paint X app. And you can then delete the layers that you just created randomly, just like this. And now we have created two text, and I just duplicated this one for our reference. If we mess up, then we can go back to that layer and use it. So that's the reason. And when you're adding some details to the text layer, just click on the filter and click on the rasterize so that we can use this. So now I'm going to change the shape of this text. So what I'm doing is using the transform tool, go to the mesh transform and turn the divisions to 2, number 2, and then align the anchor points like this. Whatever the shape you want, you can try out like this. So here, something like a, what we can say, a crown shape or something like a bucket shape. So in that way, I'm making this game text. So like this. S- yeah, now it's okay. Just adjust the anchor points, move the anchor points in the way you want, and then click on the tick. Now my text game is ready, and go back to the over layer and just click on the filter so that it will rasterize. Then we can perform anything, drawing or filter, transform everything in this text layer. So again, in the same way, I'm going to use the mesh transform with the division 2 in the X as well as the Y direction, and I just created this shape for this. So now we don't need these two original text anymore. So just duplicate the design text like this 2 times. So and switch off the one layer for the reference so that we can use it later on if required. Then go to the style filter and choose the exclude perspectives to create such a 3D text like this. Adjust the lighting, and you can see I just use the same filter for both of these text. So you may think why I'm doing in a separate layer for those text, because I'm using the same filter. But the thing is, I'll be using different materials right now for this text, so we need it definitely. So now go back to the circle background, and for each layer just click on the bevel inner filter in the style filter option, and then adjust the height, smoothness, highlight, size for that. So you can see when I change the angle light rotation, it gives a different perspective, different look. So try different light angles for each uh, details like this. Now go back to the bevel inner filter. Now here you can see I'm checking out which angle of light looks better for this. So you can choose as per your wish when you create a separate layer for each and everything. Now just choose the highlight color. You can see the difference it makes when I change the highlight color. So here I'm choosing something like a mild yellow color, or no, mustard color, you can say. So adjust the angle, and now go back to another layer of circle, and then choose the bevel inner filter and adjust the lighting, and also choose the highlight color which you wish to have. You can try these different colors. You don't need to only depend on the single color for this highlight. So it makes a huge difference in the outcome when you analyze different colors. So now I'm going to add the filter for the circle. Here you can see this circle gives entirely different look when you gives a correct perspective in this filter. It looks like a nuts, no, big nuts fitted on that metallic details. Okay, now it's ready. Then we can add some, you know, this, go to the drop shadow and add some shadow details. So here you can see it makes dark details shadow. So adjust the angle, radius and distance. When you increase the radius, it gives really blurred blended look. Now do the same thing for all other details using the drop shadow filter. Here you can see some darkness, that's a shadow, and go to this, click on the shadow and adjust the distance. You can find the dark shadow details here. Now go to the circle pot, and here you can see just keep the distance minimum as possible. Also keep the radius minimum as possible. If you increase the radius, it looks really blur and we will not get the desired look. So for that sec, so in this layer we are keeping the radius as minimum as possible. So next, we almost added the shadow for everything. Now I'm going to add some details for this blue color area. So just click on this area, I mean layer, then go to filter, use the material pattern color, and here you can find some beautiful patterns. I'm going to use something like blue color, a highly textured one. So this one, switch on the repeat option so that it will repeat all over in the layer. Then click on the click and try out different blending modes. Here I'm using dark light, I'm sorry, hard light blending modes, and I'm going to add some shadow details for this. So I'm keeping the clipping layer blending mode as linear burn and adding some dark shades so that it looks kind of 3D realistic one, something like there is a very high costly crystal or something like that is placed at the center of the metal, so to create such a look. Now create a highlight layer just by adding using the add blending mode layer and add the color like this. So I'm using something like aqua blue color. Now you can feel it a little bit. Okay, I'm adding little more darkness so that it looks really well. Now go to the text layers. Here I'm using the layer where we added, the uh, perspective transform, a perspective filter. So then for that layer, above that layer, this material is applied, and I'm just switching on the clipping layer. Here you can see how it looks. Just duplicate this layer, and here you can see I'm using overlay blending mode. Just duplicate this layer and move to that area, I mean the game letter as well. It gives a really good texture. Now I'm going to add dark shadow details little more. So I'm trying this coarse pencil brush, add some darkness so the above game over bright text looks better. Now just go to this layer game and click any material that you like to create some texture. So here I'm using this one and switch on the clipping. So here you can see how it applied. I'm using hard light blending mode, or you can try out even normal blending mode. Now erase the material details here and there so that it looks, how to say, some mixed textured blurry all together like this. Now I'm just creating another layer with the add blending mode. So this is going to be the clipping layer for the game text. And here I'm going to add some highlight details, some to create some shiny, highly bright details. So like this. Add the highlight details wherever you want so that the text pop out from the background. Though we have some bright background, by adding such a details, our text look little more pop out from the usual thing, and it looks better. So now I'm going to add some details for the over text. Just before that, I'm also adding some reddish color here and there for the game text. And just now click on the over layer and choose anything like this. I actually first tried this material, and I don't like this finally, so I just deleted. And now I'm using something like this one. I like this better than that. Love stars. Adjust in the way you want. Now I'm going to add some dark details. Just go to that material layer, and you can either do that or you can also create a new layer. So here I'm using multiply blending mode layer, or you can try out a linear burn blending mode layer to add some dark details like this. Then create a layer for the highlights with the add blending mode. Type this. I'm adding some highlights here and there. Now moving back to the plain burn layer, I'm adding little more darkness to the text. Can also adjust and see the opacity of all these and check out how it looks. Now you can see I just duplicated this perspective text layer and just switched on the alpha lock, and I'm going to apply the black color using the special lasso fill tool. Why I'm doing this is I'm going to add the shadow details for this text. So now using the transform tool, move it a little bit down like this. Also you can try out any perspective form just by changing the anchor points, adjusting the anchor points like this. Now go to the filter, choose Gaussian blur, and you can blur it out like this. You can get a really good realistic shadow. Now go to the game layer as well. Just duplicate this and switch on the alpha lock. Click the laser fill tool, apply black color, switch off the alpha lock, go to the transform, and adjust the perspective form like this. And then, as usual, click on the Gaussian blur. Yeah, like this. Now we have almost done everything. Little more things we can add is some, uh, you know, gradient background. For that, I'm using add blending mode layer at the top of the dark navy blue layer, and I'm going to use the watercolor brush. So switch on the force fade and apply the color like this. This gives a really good texture and good blending as well. Now you can see a really big difference once you applied these highlight details. The shadow are visible more now after applying this. Now click just the layer, and now I'm going to create a highlight layer for all this together. Just create add blending mode layer using the airbrush and white color. Just keep the size of the brush as small as possible and make multiple strokes like this. You can really feel the glow this created. You can also add wherever you want, not only in the text, but also you can add some spark to the metals like this. So I'm adding the same kind of details for the over as well. This glow made the artwork even more better, even more sparking and full of like a Avenger theme. So yeah, I almost finished the artwork. So if you're new to my channel, the videos and you will find everything useful. And you can also create the artwork, recreate this, and tag me on Instagram, post that, and I can also see how you recreated my artwork. And if you're if you like this tutorial, thank you for watching and subscribe to my channel.